Well, hello there. Welcome back, ladies and gents. Today, we are going to be talking about Hedera Hashgraph, and we have a jam-packed video lined up for you. Unfortunately, over the weekend, we didn't manage to get a HBAR video out, and this is, of course, post the crypto ball, and we will be looking at some of the pictures that came out from that, like the co-founder of Hedera, Mance Herman, actually with David O. Sachs, who, of course, is the new AI and crypto czar. And I think the key takeaway or the significance of some of the photos that came out post the ball and on the day of the ball really relates to Hedera's unique positioning in the United States for them to actually leverage to maintain that global leadership and dominance as it relates to technology, but also fiscally, financially, because this technology is very impactful. It's fundamentally going to change the financial system as we know it. But systems more broadly, social systems, voting systems, supply chains, AI, etc., etc. And actually, Hedera is unbelievably perfectly positioned. Day in, day out, we bring you content, a lot of it related to Hedera and some of the amazing things that they are doing. And a lot of people get very frustrated in regards to price action that we've seen, certainly during that range of accumulation. Obviously, we've broken out of that now, and we're now on a broader uptrend, because there was just so much news coming out, and a lot of it didn't really affect the price at all. Whereas if it had been on another blockchain, just one of these announcements, the price would have done very well. And that's because often value takes time to be realized. Something takes time to be worked on and then ultimately shipped. And we're at this very critical stage now, certainly with Trump's inauguration today, where in the coming weeks, we're actually going to see the fruits of that labor. So we've got a really jam-packed video lined up for you guys. The first place we're going to start is on Google Trends. Then we're going to be looking at some of the pictures that came out. Mance with everybody, Greg Bell with a lot of people. And then we'll be talking about Hedera's price action. And also, why wasn't Lehman at Trump's inauguration or Trump's crypto ball? Well, the reason being that he is at Davos along with a load of Hedera people. And actually, we know that Hedera is very kind of embedded with Davos, the World Economic Forum, etc., along with America broadly. So the first place that I really want to start is with Google Trends. Now, Google Trends is a great way of looking at the kind of involvement in the cryptocurrency space. Where do people go when they want to know something about something? Typically Google, right? And just on or over the past couple of months, we had this unbelievable spike on Google Trends. And essentially, this is the masses waking up to Hedera Hashgraph, and now it's kind of on their radar. This is likely going to be absolutely eclipsed and engulfed by what's to come. Certainly with Hedera being a US sort of crypto, there's been a lot of hype around it, a lot of speculation. Ultimately, very interestingly, a lot of people, and this is worldwide Google Trends, are actually starting to Google Hedera, look into it, and the masses are starting to wake up. And in regards to how many people actually hold Hedera today, it's percentages, not even a percent of the world's population. That'll change in the future, ladies and gentlemen. I think ultimately billions of people directly or indirectly will be using Hedera, and that's the journey that we're all here for. Let's talk about the crypto ball. Now, we posted this, and this is, of course, Mance and David Sachs. Now, David Sachs has been appointed the crypto czar by Donald Trump himself, and actually Mance tweeted this, and it says, "It was a pleasure meeting David Sachs and discussing digital asset innovation in America. It's the dawn of US leadership for our industry." And you can bet Hedera is going to play a role there. Also, this was one that I absolutely loved. This is Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, and of course, Mance, the co-founder of Hedera, getting on swimmingly. We know they're already partnered in regards to DREC and a number of other things. And then we have, from the HBAR Foundation, a whole wave of Hedera-related pictures that came out of the ball. Obviously, they're here with Brian Armstrong. We can also see Greg Bell there, somebody that's playing a role in ETF, certainly speaking about it. Brandon did that great video where he actually had Eric Balanchunas, the man to follow when it comes to ETFs, talking about the subject matter. Obviously, Greg was on there as well, but you've got Greg, you've got Michael Saylor, obviously MicroStrategy CEO, and you've got Mance. People saying MicroStrategy might become the next governing council member. I don't really care whether they do or they don't. I actually think there's bigger fish to fry with the governing council. And what you got to remember is we've still got seats to fill. This year, you're going to start to see some of those seats filled. I wouldn't be surprised if a government agency actually ends up on the Hedera governing council. I don't think that's too far out of the realms of possibility. Certainly, we know a lot of US institutions, the largest in the world, are actually already governing council members. Is it that far of a stone's throw to suggest a government agency may actually become a governing council member? Certainly, that would position them in what is a very impactful technology. But that is all speculation broadly. Then you can see we've got a number of other individuals. The FDIC individual was there. You know, it was a great ball, and there was lots of things that kind of came out of it. And some of you were asking, why on earth wasn't Lehman there? Well, that's because I believe he was in Davos. The USA House is here, Davos, during the World Economic Forum annual meeting. And you can see Hedera representing there with an American themed stall. And actually, this is from Zeph underneath, which was interesting. I think this is Lehman's brother. Actually, I think Hedera might be one of the top, likely is going to be one of the top US cryptos to really kind of embrace all of this. And you guys will all be noticing Hedera's recent price action. Now, why do you think that is? Well, I would say there's lots of rumors that have came out of the ball. Certainly somebody knows something. I think there's an element that we've looked at of an ETF coming. Remember, Litecoin's through that door. The next one in line was Hedera, according to the people who do ETFs for a living. But actually, more broadly than that, I think we're going to see some insane announcements over the coming months, and Hedera is not going to escape that. And in regards to price, you guys all know the drill at this point. We've got this double bottom target that takes you to 94 cents. Okay, you've actually triggered this pattern on volume. Look at the volume profile. Also, this is very much an accumulative range. If you look at where all the volume is, it's all to the upside during this range. And if you look at the downside, the volume slopes off. Typically, that's what you'll see in an accumulative range. Vice versa, when you're at the top and you're sort of topping out of a market, you'll see the range, or you'll see the volume really on downside moves, giving you an inkling of what kind of a state of play you're in. And of course, we look at the markets through phase analysis. Markets move in this kind of 4-stage fashion. But since then, we did look at a small continuation pattern. It's very common you set these up in the form of a symmetrical triangle. Now, this is going to give you bull flag targets of 72 cents, and then potentially one taking you to $2.25. So we'll talk about that. We'll do an entire video on the $2.25 price prediction, and I'll show you 15, 16 examples of charts that broke out in a similar manner to what Hedera did, and then ultimately, set some sort of a continuation pattern up. Could be a bull flag, could be a pennant like this, that allowed us to predict, and they got there. So we'll do that in a separate video. Also, we've got a short-term target based on this pattern of about 50 cents, and then we've got our double bottom target of 94 cents. So whichever way you look at Hedera, it's a great story. And on this sort of consolidation, what you've seen is a decline or a restriction in volume. That's ultimately going to lead to an expansion. I think Hedera has taken the right first steps. So if we drop down to an 8 hourly, you can see you did actually break out of this. Now you're retesting it, and you're going to see continuation off of it. This is very similar to XRP. Breakout, retest, continuation. Hedera is essentially on that exact same journey, guys. And we'll just use a slightly different chart for this, but we'll draw it on. But we weren't just looking at Hedera versus the US dollar and giving our bullish narrative on it. We were also looking at the likes of Hedera versus BTC. Now, this is a weekly chart, but when we dive into the pattern that we were looking at on the short term that made us bullish on it, this is Hedera versus Bitcoin. And what this is telling us, you've now triggered this in my opinion, and you're retesting it and you're going to bounce off it, is that Hedera is about to gain ground against Bitcoin significantly, which is bullish for Bitcoin in the sense that it wouldn't be gaining against Bitcoin if Bitcoin was going down. The space has to be generally buoyant. But this is showing you that Hedera is actually going to start to rock and roll against Bitcoin. Also, this is Hedera ETH, which that ultimately is going to lead to continuation. And since we looked at this, can you see the break? Can you see the volume profile? Decline in volume whilst consolidating, then an expansion. This pullback, low volume, you'll get continuation on the back end of this. And we also spoke about Hedera dominance, which is now at all-time highs, and said this is moving towards a sort of 1% range. So something fundamentally is coming for Hedera. That is all technically signaled. And across HBAR USD, HBAR BTC, HBAR ETH, and of course HBAR dominance, we're getting the same signals, and there's still higher targets to come for these. And you can bet that there's some sort of fundamental news on the back end of all of this. And it could have everything to do with what America is currently doing, what we saw come out of the crypto ball, and the kind of unique positioning that Hedera has, plus financial inklings like obviously ETFs, etc., etc., etc. So this is a jam-packed video, and the real kind of premise of this video is to say, technically from a price point of view, Hedera looks superb, and fundamentally there's just this Goliath as a story that is ultimately going to see Hedera do exceptionally well in this bull market. And I hope you're all on board for that ride. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it from me. Apologies about the camera zooming in and out. A couple of settings I've got to sort out, but I'm going to leave you on that note. HBAR holders, hang in there. The future is a bright one. See you soon, guys.